Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Hare Krishna. So welcome to our Sunday Bhagavad Gita youth program. Today's topic is how to find real love. We are familiar with so many songs, movies on this topic, speaking about love. And many sayings, example, love makes the world go round, love will save the day, love will conquer all, etc. So many. Common subject for songs, films, books, major topic. Why? Why is it a major topic? Because this is what people want to hear, this is what people want to see, this is what people want to read about, books. One more song, it was called, What is Love? But the musician never answered the question because no one knows. Actually, when we say Veda is Nigama Kalpatarod, that means desire tree of Vedic knowledge. It's like a desire tree, Kalpavriksha. In a Kalpavriksha, whatever you want you can get. So the Vedas provide all knowledge. You'll be surprised what kind of knowledge you can get, which no one else can answer. So the knowledge about real love and how to find this can be answered by the Bhagavad, by a devotee. Okay, enough about pop music. Now, Bhagavad Gita. Why is it that the jiva, the soul, we are all souls inhabiting these bodies. So, why is it that the jiva, soul, has tendency to love? Because don't forget, we all went to our schools and colleges where we said that the body is a lump of chemicals. Nothing about soul. How can a chemical love another chemical? And when some chemicals got spilled, people cried, he died. So some chemicals spilled on the ground. Actually, this can tell us that we are not just chemicals. We are not just this body. Why are there emotions? Why is there this tendency to love? Consciousness, why is that there? Because we are something more than chemicals and matter. So there's a tendency for people to love, their children, partners, owner, some boss. We may have affection. The boss is, providing. So and then a kind of affection for friends. And this way we have different kind of love. That for friends, for children, for the dog, for the political party, is different kind of love. Out of all the souls in the human body have the highest consciousness. Because of that, they have a tendency to love, to display love much more, because they have a higher consciousness. Like an ant has a lower consciousness. It cannot really display love a lot. A tree, dog, cat, they can, but in the human form, consciousness is much more evolved. So that tendency to show love is displayed much more in there. So Shastra explains a lot of things regarding consciousness, emotions, and these feelings. So what does that say? This is explained. First of all, this is a deep topic and a lot of background information should be there, but how much time we have, we won't go so deep. Okay, so now to understand this point, first of all, let's understand we are all Purush. Purush means one who has tendency to enjoy in this world, enjoy the matter, enjoy anything. So we're known as Purush. But there is another Purush, he's known as Purush Uttama. Or in other words, Purushottam. He is also enjoyer, but he is above us. He is supreme. Purushottam. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that Yasmad Sharamati-toham Yasmad Sharamati-toham Tasmad Pratita Purushottamaha. Because I am superior to the jivas who are spiritual or material, therefore I am known as the Purushottam, he says in Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 15. Yasmat Sharamati Toham Uttarat Purushottamat Ato Asmi Loko Vedecha Pratita Purushottamaha. Therefore I am known in the Vedas and among the people as Purushottam, because I am greater than the other Purushas. This is a concept of God. So, now when we speak about God, we have some idea, but the idea we have is a personality, maybe very far from us, impersonal, not known, cannot be known, does not want to be known, does not want to have any, except very distant relation. But the Vedas speak very detailed about concept of God as a personality who is very loving, and he enjoys exchanges of loving feelings in different ways, primarily in 5 ways. One, as a master. So we take a role as servant and serve the master. That is known as Shanta Rasa. Sorry, Dasya Rasa. Then he enjoys exchanging feelings of love as a friend. In the material world, everyone likes to have friends and exchange feelings. Where does it come from? Now we are investigating the origin of this feeling. The origin is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna himself, he enjoys having relations with friends. It's called Sakhya Ras. Then Vatsalya Ras. That means Krishna takes a form as a child, Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the devotee takes a role as a parent and serves Krishna. And so there are different ways that we can relate with God and serve Him. And there's another one, that is Madhurya Rasa. In Madhurya Rasa, Krishna takes the role of a lover. And so he enjoys loving feelings in a conjugal relation. So in this way, in the spiritual world, we understand where Krishna is residing. He is engaging in loving feelings himself. As a child, as a friend, as a master, as a lover. He is known as the Adi Purush because, of course, we have that film, Adi Purush, that is referring to Ram. So Krishna, Ram is the same personality. Adi Purush means the original person. It can mean 2 things. The first person. Or it can also mean the original first person, or it could mean the greatest person. So, originally, Krishna, he had all these feelings of love, and he has these feelings, and it's going on in the Leela, in the Krishna Leela, Nitya Leela. Now it's going on in Goloka and in Vrindavan Dham, located here. So this is the transcendental character of God, Krishna. He's a loving personality. But don't see love like in this material world. He's detached. Very detached, but he's also loving. Now we, our souls, jivas, according to Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 15, it's mentioned that we, the jiva, is a part of Krishna. We are Angsh of Krishna. But we are not Krishna, we are not God, we are godly. He's there, and we are Divya, spiritual. He's the Supreme Spirit. We are spiritual in nature. So, being a part of Krishna, we also have his character in a minute part. Just to explain, example, if you have an ocean, in the ocean there are different salts. If you take one drop, it will have a microcosm of all the same chemicals and salts. So in the same way, we are a microcosm of God. We are godly, but we are not God. He's supreme. But in order to serve the supreme Para-Brahman, we also have to be Brahman. If there is a very rich and powerful man, his servant will also be very rich, powerful on his level. So we, in order to become, being a servant of God, we also have that quality of God, but in a less quantity, much less quantity. So because Krishna is a loving personality engaged in transcendental loving Leela, pastimes, in Goloka, spiritual activities, we also have that tendency to do that. We have that tendency. But what is our role? So it's explained in Shastra. Eko Syam, Eko Bahur Syam. Eka, Supreme was one. Bahur Syam, he expanded into us, Jivas. Why? So that we can take part in his Leela and help him to enjoy. But it does not mean that Krishna is dependent on us. God is independent, Swarat. At the same time, we can engage in serving God and coming into his Leela, Divya Leela. And if we do that, we become very happy. And we'll take one of the roles, either serving God as a parent, as a lover. This is all given in Shastra. It's a very advanced, different understanding of God. Now, in other religious systems, they speak about God, but they don't have so much knowledge. If you, for example, I had a direct conversation with the Muslim. So he said that, so I said that we accept God as a personality, like I'm a person, you're a person. He's a person, but not like us, much greater, much more powerful, spiritual. So is God a person? It's not a question that they would have contemplated, neither in Christianity or Judaism. So he said that we cannot know God. We cannot understand him. The knowledge is not there. So actually in parts of their book there's narrations. God will give you something. He will turn his face to you on the day of judgment. Many things are there to hint that God is a person. So I mentioned those points. He said it might be, but we don't know and we are not supposed to know. So that is there. Then if you look at the Bible also, there's not a lot of hints given about God more than his role as a creator, destroyer, punisher. But hints are given in all these books. And now if you look in the Vedas, deep knowledge of God. If we want to serve God, if we want to go to God, we have to know about God. We cannot have a vague understanding. Otherwise, why shall I go? Where am I going? Who is he? Why shall I surrender? No. Information should be sought after. We should look for knowledge of God. Only then will you have determination to go to him. Now, from Srimad Bhagavad Purana, we get information of God as a very loving personality, very merciful, very friendly, compassionate, such that we desire to be with him. We desire to, when we read about him, the desire will come that I want to associate with God. I want to be with him. I want to serve him. So much information is given. So we understand from Shastra actually that we are all from Vaikuntha. Originally, we were in a spiritual world. Ayadivyani dhamani tashtu. We were situated in a spiritual world in Vaikuntha with Krishna. And then we fell to this material world. How is that? Explanation is given here that our role is that we expanded from Krishna to be in the Leela of Krishna. In the Leela. However, so now to be in Krishna's Leela, we were awarded independence. For example, I want to serve God. I have to be independent to decide how to serve God. I can say, okay, today Krishna, that Leela is happening, Krishna is going to leave home and take the cows to the Yamuna. So I am going to go and prepare some food and also give it to Krishna, for example. So I have to have independence. I cannot be like a robot, just worship God. How to worship? That independence has to be there. Okay, so with that independence we are given, if we misuse it, by the way, some of you, there's space, you can come in front because more people are coming behind. It will be easier for them. Yes, thank you. So we were given independence, but we misuse the independence in this way, that we are serving God, but we thought, I don't want to serve God. I want to enjoy. I am enjoying my body, my senses. I want to enjoy. Okay, now the rule in Vaikuntha is that there is one Vaikuntapati, the Supreme Personality, who should be served. And if we desire, I won't serve him, I will serve myself. So we are brought into this material world, where we are now. So this material world, we are given a chance to live and take birth again and again, die, take birth, and try to enjoy how you desire. In different ways, different bodies, different countries, different species. That is it. So now, we were meant to be serving Krishna, but we misused our independence and chose not to serve. So we descended into this material world. In this material world, we have become covered, because the material world has a material energy. This material energy is called Maya. Maya is a Sanskrit word. Ma means in Sanskrit no, and Ya means this. No, this. Maya means not this. This is not the reality. So this is known as Devi Dham, the Maya Jagat. The material world is an illusory place where people are thinking, I am a human being. A dog is going thinking, I am a dog. No, he's not. They are all jivas. But why is he thinking he's a dog? Why do I think that I am Swedish, American, or Muslim, or Christian, or Hindu? This is known as Upadhi. Actually, we are just souls, but because of the power of Maya, we are thinking, I am this body, I am this country, from this country, this species, and we are forced to act in that way. So, having come to this world, we have been covered by Maya. When we get covered, we forget our nature. Now, no one here, now I am speaking that we are servant of God, we were in Vaikuntha. No one had this idea, definitely. Because of Maya, it is covered. This is Bhagavad Gita information. Avrityam jnanam etena jnanino nityavedina. The jiva, jnanino, actually has knowledge, so much knowledge. It is covered. He has knowledge of who he is God, what is this world. He has it. Therefore, he is known as jnanino. But Bhagavad Gita says, Avrityam jnanam etena jnanino nityavedina. That Maya Shakti covered his knowledge. Now he has no knowledge. No knowledge. We cannot understand why we took birth in this world. What is the purpose? Nothing. Actually, we have to come to the Veda, then we'll understand. So now that we became covered in this material world, we have no knowledge, no happiness, and no eternality. Jiva is Sat Chit Anand, full of knowledge, full of happiness and eternal. But when Maya covers, then Asat, Achit, Nir Anand. Asat means, actually we are not meant to be undergoing birth and death, we are eternal. But Maya cheated us to think, now you are dying, now you are being born, now you are American, now you are a snake. Maya deludes us and we think I am that. Because of our past life, we take that body. So now that we are in Maya, knowledge is covered. Second, happiness is covered. By nature, Jiva is supposed to be very happy. Happiness is the nature of the Jiva. But that is covered. And so what are we doing? Moving around looking for happiness. That is our activity. Whole life, seeking that happiness. Seeking the knowledge. Looking all over the place for knowledge and happiness and eternality, looking for eternality. We don't want death, no one wants it. So, although we are covered in Maya at the moment, we are still displaying some level of spiritual character. For example, in the spiritual world, we in Vaikuntha, we were in Krishna Leela. Bhagavatam explains that those feelings, that is all a spiritual environment and spiritual activities. We were there, and we were engaged in loving relations in different ways with Krishna. Having come to this material world, we are trying to seek that same experience, but having no knowledge about God and what we are meant to do, we are seeking it in a material way. So we are trying to look for that happiness and putting our love in so many things. People buy dogs, they try to love a dog, but dog cannot reciprocate. It's a little frustrating. Okay, so then people want to love political parties, film actors, society, family, friendship, country. We try to put our love and glorify something. The propensity to love is there because we are souls, but it's meant to be placed in God, in Krishna, in a rasa, in a particular relation. This is all very scientific, presented in a book called Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the nectar derived from the ocean of devotion. There it says in detail about that feeling of love that everyone has and how it's meant to be placed. Although people are trying to love in different ways in this material world, often we are not happy. That love is not reciprocated properly. Many times it ends up in murder or killing or some horrible things, because someone reposes their love somewhere and it's not reciprocated properly. So they are very frustrated or angry. Actually, that is not, Shastra explains, the jiva, being spiritual, is meant to relate in a spiritual way. His love should be on a spiritual level. I'll explain that now. However, now I mentioned that we are not happy trying to love different entities in this material world. We can never get that full satisfaction or happiness, whatever relation of love we put in this, in a material way. Okay, now, people who are trying to, on a material level, love different things and people in this world, they don't know their spiritual nature. Actually, what are we meant to love? How is it? Spirit soul is spiritual. Therefore, he has to operate on a spiritual platform to be happy. Spiritual platform operation, another word for this is bhakti. So, bhakti. Silent. So, our mistake is trying to seek happiness on a material level. That will not work, because we are spiritual beings. Spiritual being means we have to have spiritual activity, spiritual love, spiritual feelings. Okay, but who knows about that? This first time maybe you're hearing. This is not taught. This is there's a book taken all from the Vedas on this topic, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, translated Nectar of Devotion. So it's been described as one of the greatest contributions of the Gaudiya Sampradaya, this Sampradaya that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is coming. This Sampradaya is starting with Krishna. And in this Sampradaya, Parampara, came Srila Prabhupada, who established ISKCON. So along the line at the back of this Parampara, some acharyas wrote a deep knowledge on bhakti and rasa, getting how to repose our loving feelings in a spiritual way. So it's a great science, and it's a mistake to try to seek that happiness on a material level, as I was saying, because spiritual feeling is very different from material feelings. For us to be happy, we have to be on a spiritual platform, undergoing spiritual activity. Spiritual activity means acting on the soul level, not body level. Previously, due to close following of religious and cultural observances, people had very close relation with Krishna, Ram, Vishnu. We had a close relation, and chanting, reading about, hearing katha, chanting shlokas, attending festivals. There was a very link people had, because We say Krishna, but then there are different avatars. Actually, they are all on the same level. But Krishna comes in different form as Ram, as a Varaha, Nrsimha. They are all on that level. So because people had a relation with God, they didn't have a feeling, desire that I have to seek love somewhere. They were very peaceful and satisfied in their life. Okay? Marriage institution was there. It was a duty. It is a samskar. And it was some duty that had to be performed properly. But seeking love, that was for God. That was seeking love in God and spiritual activities. And then people were happy because that feeling of spiritual love was fulfilling for them. Now, due to breakdown of religious and cultural system, people don't have link to God. And so now they're seeking that love in material things, mundane material things. But that can never be fully satisfying as before. It can't be. People are very satisfied before due to practicing spiritual activities. Bhakti, basically. Bhakti in Sanskrit. English translated as devotional service. So when this broke down, there was a disconnect. There was a vacuum in the heart. And now that is trying to be fulfilled by unlimited loving propensities. So many. Now before, people didn't keep dogs, cats. Now they're keeping 3 dogs, 4 dogs, cats, parrots. And relation, what we call illicit relation with women out of marriage, this has increased because people are not happy, peaceful inside. So they're seeking love in these different ways. And as I mentioned, in Vedic culture, marriage is there. It is there, but it's not in this way. That is a duty that people perform. But their happiness and their spiritual feelings came through religious practice. Not only them, whole family, they'll engage in serving God. They'll be chanting at home, bhajan, or listening to katha all together. That was the focus. Focus was relation with Krishna, putting the love in God, love of God. So now, due to this empty feeling people have, they had this trying to fulfill it in a wrong way, not knowing about their role as a soul, which is supposed to be engaged in loving God. Actually, the nature of the jiva, swarup it's called, the swarup of the jiva, is to be engaged in serving God in different ways. Jeev Krishna Das, E Vishwas, Karle to aar koi dukha nahi. Our suffering is that we lost the connection to our most dear and lovable object. That is Krishna. But now, not knowing about Krishna, we are trying to establish relation and look for that same feeling, but it will not come on this platform, material platform. So there's a very big difference between spiritual and material love. This is given in Shastra. Before quoting the shlokas, we'll explain that spiritual love is desire to serve God, to serve senses of God, and that loving feeling for God, how to serve Him, how to live for Him, and I base my life on Him. Okay, that is spiritual love. And material love is simply how to live life to satisfy my senses. I have 5 senses. I should be happy. I should be satisfied in my life. So if I endeavor to satisfy these senses, that is material. If I endeavor to satisfy Krishna, that is spiritual. So previously, within a family, everyone will think how to serve God. There was no conflict. What to cook? What is Krishna like? How to organize the house? How Krishna likes. How to bring up the children? How Krishna likes. Okay. Now it's not like that. What to cook? We have 5 opinions. Then a fight. Or which school or which city to live? Again, so many opinions. How can there be peace? There are 5 minds, 5 opinions in the house. Previously, everyone was Krishna-centered. Satisfaction of God. And then naturally everyone was happy. fully happy. If you go back here, same in India, this culture was very different previously. People are happy even without so many things in the entertainment industry, what you have today. They were not there. This hotel, casino, cinema, restaurant, nothing was there. People are so happy. You can see the pictures, 1940, 50, see their faces. And now, we have whole industries for entertainment, but just look at people's faces. Typically, frustrated, not happy, still seeking that happiness. So in Shastra there's a shlok, Atmendriya Priti Vancha Tare Bale Kam, Krishnendriya Priti Icha Dhare Premana. Desire to gratify our own senses, this is called Kam. Desire to satisfy Krishna's senses, this is called Prem. Sanskrit is very particular. You will have one word and it means specifically for that purpose. So Prem is actually a word meant for God. In this material world, the mundane love of this material world is based on mutual sense gratification. That you develop a relation with someone, and why you're so much interested in that relation? Because that person is pleasing my senses. And that person, I'm pleasing their senses. So that is as soon as my senses are not satisfied, that's it, relation. Actually, is that love? If as soon as some disturbance comes in my sense gratification, if I'm breaking the relation, that means it was not love, it was actually calm. That is a different word. Whereas, that actual love, which does not exist in the material platform, means I will love no matter what happens. So, actually that's a spiritual feeling, and that is the feeling that someone has for God and that God has for his devotee. You can just think about it, that somebody's taken a body of a human being, and actually, as Krishna says, Sarvasya cha aham hridhi sarvishto, I am present in everyone's heart, the Paramatma, super soul. So Krishna is present. Now when this body dies, we say death, but we never die. Body dies, then we take another body. Supposing we take a body of a pig, and the pig is seeking stool in the gutter. Very different life. Due to past life, we have to take birth maybe like that. So we are there, and definitely everyone in that past life will not come. It's now that karma changed. We were in this with these people. Now next birth, pig body, different family members, pigs. But Krishna follows. Paramatma follows you whichever birth you take. And inside the heart, if any desire comes that I want to know God, I want to understand why I am born, any doubt comes about this material world, I want to know where I came, who I am, any doubt comes, any hint, immediately Paramatma is here, there, and exactly at that time starts to give the jnana. Somehow, either through some body or some book, or you're guided to go somewhere, and gradually we get that jnana. So this is love. This is love. Okay, now just to clarify what I'm saying, it's families were there, okay, but that actual deep love, that was all family members had in God. And what is love of one family member for another? It was through Krishna. For example, I'll give you an example. Once the founder of ISKCON, Prabhupada, he had one disciple, female disciple, so she had taken Diksha. So she asked that Prabhupada, if I love my child so much, will it help me to love Krishna? He said, no, if you love Krishna so much, it will help you to love your child. Actually, love has to go through God. In that, what does that mean? That friendship means friendship on a spiritual basis. That friendship based on Krishna consciousness, taking my friend to spiritual goals. And there's actually a shloka in Srimad Bhagavatam. Guru nasasyat, swajano nasasyat, pati nasasyat, pita nasasyat, jani nasasyat, namoche samupeta mrityum. It's something that way, some words I forgot. But the shloka is saying, one should not become father or mother or king or any kind of leader if they cannot liberate those who are under them, cannot impart knowledge so that they escape the cycle of birth and death. This is a condition given. Because the father, actual meaning previously, would means that the family will have children. Why? They want to bring in the souls to liberate them. They are Badaji, they are stuck in this material world, but they'll be born in their family and they will give them knowledge, Gyan, by which they'll be liberated. This was the purpose. And the father and the husband is supposed to be the spiritual master of the wife to guide them. So this was all there, but actual happiness and love, that was trained in people, that should be reposed in God through hearing their katha, seeing their form in the temple, and then dressing them beautifully. That evokes devotion, bhakti. The whole system of deity worship, archa, what we call archa marg, worshipping deity in temple, is to awaken that bhakti, loving devotion to Krishna. And the way to do it is a science, it's given in Bhagavatam. So, what is the nature? What is the nature of that spiritual love that we are speaking about? That the nature of that is it's fully satisfying, so satisfying that one need not seek any other kind of happiness or satisfaction in this life. We can go on with our life, whatever we are living, but within inside we are so peaceful and happy because we get reciprocation from God. We are thinking God is far away and how will I have a relation? But actually God is expanded in everyone's heart. Bhagavad Gita says in 3 places, Krishna says, I am in everyone's heart. Ishwar Sarvabhutanam Hirdeshe Arjuna Tishtati. He says, the Lord of all living entities is situated in the heart, Arjun. Ishwar Sarvabhutanam Hirdeshe Arjuna Tishtati. Elsewhere it says, Krishna is saying, Sarvasya cha aham hirdi sanavishto. I am in everyone's heart. Matasmritim jnanam apovanam. From me come knowledge, remembrance and forgetfulness. That is given by God. We have this concept of artificial intelligence. Actually, from the Shastic point of view, it's not possible. It can be maybe one complex code to react to a certain input. But actual intelligence, according to Shastra, is given by the Paramatma, Super Soul. He is giving the intelligence when I process some information I want it. Paramatma, according to my karma, how much intelligence I am allowed, he'll impart that. So that's what Shastra tells us. So we have texts like Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavad Purana explains to us what is the nature of this love of God and how to attain love of God. So Srimad Bhagavatam, out of all the Shastras, is what the topmost. It's because the Bhagavat, from beginning, aim of the Bhagavatam is to awaken our love of God. It was written by Vyasadeva after writing all the Vedas. He wrote all the Vedas. He was not happy. He said that I am not satisfied. I did not properly do what I was supposed to, but he could not understand clearly. Then his guru descended. Who is Vyasadeva's guru? Narad Muni. So Narad Muni, Trikalagya, knower of everything, he perceived, because he is a liberated personality, he travels to Vaikuntha and all the worlds. So he descended and he spoke to Vyasa that you wrote the Vedas, but you did not clearly directly mention anywhere who is supreme and how to surrender and how to awaken our love for God. So then the last text Vyasadeva wrote Srimad Bhagavad Purana, and he opened that text with the opening sentence, Om Namo Bhagate Vasudevaya. That I worship Vasudeva. Vasudeva is the name of Krishna, son of Vasudeva, Vasudeva. Then a deep one shloka which is covering a summary of the whole knowledge of the 18,000 shlokas of Bhagavatam. That summary is given in the first verse. At the same time, it's giving the definition of the absolute truth about Krishna, details. So now in that book, very great detail is given about Krishna and his nature and how to awaken love for him. No other part of the Vedas, it's so detailed. So now, some shlokas in Bhagavatam, if we read, okay, there's in 3rd canto, Tritiya Skand, Kapila Muni is giving teachings. Kapila Muni is Krishna's incarnation, avatar. He came in Satyayuga. So he was giving Gyan to his mother, Devahuti. Devahuti and Kardama, a couple, they had in the previous life did tapasya and prayed to God that you descend as my son. So when he appeared, then he said, okay, you are doing tapasya, what is it you want? They said, we want someone like you to be our son. He said that there is no one like me. I will come personally and take a form as your son. So in the next life, he appeared as Lord Kapila. At the same time, he gave deep philosophical knowledge to his mother, that is recorded. So in one place, he was giving knowledge about bhakti and the nature of the devotee to God. So he says in this shloka, engaged constantly in chanting and hearing about me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the sadhus do not suffer from material misery because they are filled with thoughts of my pastimes and activities. So in this shloka it's explained, it's Madasha Katamrishta Shrivanti Katayanti Cha, that my devotees who serve me with love, they are always thinking about my Leela and my Shiksha, Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. Tapanti vividastapa naitan mangata chetasaha. So this is the shlok, that this material world is full of suffering. But because they are absorbed in love of me, they are not feeling that suffering at all. Another verse, he's speaking to his mother. Oh my mother, my devotees always see my smiling face of my form with eyes like the rising morning sun. They like to see my various transcendental forms, which are all benevolent, and they also talk favorably about me. So we are not on the spiritual level. We cannot see God. Krishna has a spiritual body, spiritual form. But Krishna has spoken the Gyan in Bhagavatam 11th canto, how we can make a vigraha of Krishna and say some prayer. He will enter into that form, so that we pray in the temple that is not different from Krishna, and we can make offerings and it will be received by him. So he says the devotees to awaken love of me, they come to the temple and they see the form, and gradually they awaken that same love. Upon seeing the charming forms of the Lord smiling and attractive, and hearing his very pleasing words, the pure devotee almost loses all other consciousness. His senses are freed from all other engagements. He becomes absorbed in devotional service. Thus, in spite of his unwillingness, he attains liberation. One attains mukti if we attain love for Krishna, which is nothing artificial. It is inside all of us, but at the moment it's covered. As we begin the process of bhakti, that love awakens. Okay, last verse. The terrible fear of birth and death can never be forsaken by anyone who resorts to any shelter other than myself. For I am the Almighty Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the original source of all creation, and also the Supreme Soul of all souls. So even a devotee who awakens love of God, he does not fear death anymore, because he gets all knowledge to understand that I am a soul, he is God, and in this material world is full of suffering, but whatever is happening to the body is not happening to me. I am not the body. And whatever happens, soul can never be killed. Nothing can kill the soul. So actually, Veda explained that the purpose of life is to awaken love of God. This is the purpose. Many people are spending years and years and in philosophy, discussion and so many things, trying to find what is the goal of life. Shastra says it clearly. The goal is that we have to use intelligence, mind, senses and body to awaken love of God. So now, having taken so many births, trying to seek that love in different ways. Everyone is looking for some kind of love, fulfillment in love, in different ways. You know, as I said, some now they buy dogs or cat, or they adopt children or partners, whatever, to find that love. But it's not satisfying, because that is material. Real satisfying will be spiritual love, and that spiritual love can be attained. There's a technique. We'll look at the shloka, what it says. So real satisfaction can come from developing this love. And how to awaken that love of God? Now we are given, Shastra gives 5 ways which are very powerful. Forms of bhakti. Sadhu Sangha Nam Kirtan Bhagavad Shravan Mathura Va Srimutera Shadaya Sevan Sakala Sadhana Shresht E Pancha Anga Krishna Prem Janmai E Panchera Alpa Sangha. Translation: one should associate with devotees of God, chant the holy name of the Lord, hear Srimad Bhagavatam, reside in a holy place, and worship the deity with faith and veneration. These 5 limbs of devotional service are the best. Even a slight performance awakens love for Krishna. Krishna Prema Janmaya E Panchera Alpa Sangha. If someone even does a little of one of this, gradually he awakens his spiritual nature and he perceives God everywhere. So these topics that we are talking, some of you are new and you would not have heard this knowledge, but everything we speak is based on Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. If we read, all this knowledge is there for us. So actually this is the goal of life. And people who try to seek happiness on a material platform, that satisfaction, it cannot come because we are not material beings. On a spiritual level, if we engage in these activities of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, chanting holy name of God, associating with devotees, worshipping the deity, so this helps us to awaken our spiritual nature. And that feeling that naturally all the souls have after breaking their relation with God, that feeling which they are trying to seek to satisfy in so many different ways and relations, it will be fulfilled very satisfying, peacefully and happily. This is actually the purpose of life according to Srimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna. So does anyone have any question? How to find real love? You might have expected a different answer. Question.
As you described that what is supreme head, so he is able to do anything else. So nothing is greater than him. So according to their devotees' desire, why he takes many forms apart than Hari and Ram? There are many forms. He attracts by that form.
Yes. So the question is that why God takes so many forms? Actually, very deep answer, but just in brief, there are different reasons for that. One is that Krishna himself, he's a personality. He wants to enjoy. Why we want to enjoy? We took some ansh of his character, but Krishna is different. He is always Atmarama, self-satisfied, and he can make arrangement of his enjoyment. We cannot, we are trying. So he'll come in different forms to enact different leelas for his enjoyment. This is explained in Bhagavatam. In Bhagavatam it's explained that he also wanted that propensity of enjoying by fighting. He wanted to do that. Therefore, you know the story of Jai Vijay, they were cursed. They took birth as Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksh, then Ravan, Kumbhakaran, then in Dwapar Yuga as Shishupal and Dantavakra. So, long story, but Krishna organized that Leela, so he could come and fight with them as Varaha, then as Narasimha there, and Krishna. So, why God takes different forms? One is to enjoy in different ways, different Leela. Okay, these are very high topics you might not have heard now, suddenly you're hearing. Normally we speak on different topics, but today is okay. Another reason why Krishna takes different form is because the devotee wants to see a different form. They like to worship in that mood, different mood. Like Krishna in Vrindavan, then Krishna in Dwarka. In Dwarka is so much Aishwarya Bhav. Great king, affectionate king, and we are serving you. Or in the form of Ram, like this. But that Bhakt, he'll be happy to serve in that way. Hanuman is happy serving Ram in that mood, that is his mood. And some want to serve God, and like Krishna in the Vrindavan mood, that he's, very loving pastime, very intimate, close, like a friend, like parent, like this. So that's why he takes different forms. One is to satisfy the devotee, another is for him to come, descend and avatar in a different way to enjoy. Continue.
So as per this and what you described.
Yeah.
So just for fulfilling his devotee's desire, he takes different forms. It means that he loves his devotees a lot, means it can't be described in the words, material words. So he loves us so much. So what's our duty to give something to him?
Reciprocate.
Yeah. Because he loves us so much.
Yeah.
We can't give him anything else because he is the superior. Nothing is greater. So what's our duty now?
Yeah.
Because he loves us.
You see, we are known as Baddha Jeev. The Jivas who are in Maya. There are other Jivas who are not in Maya, they are in Vaikuntha. And we are in minority, they are in majority. So for Baddha Jeev, us, how to serve God, how to please God, this is by following his instructions in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, and basically in the process of bhakti. Okay? For example, if you have like a father, he buys food for the child. Then the child makes a plate and gives the father, take some food. Father won't say, I have everything in the world, why are you giving me? This is my food. I don't need it. But he'll think, oh, out of love he's giving me. So he'll accept it happily. So yes, he has everything. Still, when we cook, devotees cook, after cooking, we offer it to God. That is act of love. And he becomes very pleased. Even he doesn't think that I'm not hungry and this food I made it. Why is he giving me? But he'll take the devotion. So the process of bhakti means engaging in devotion service by offering the food we cook, by reading Bhagavad Gita, that is also Krishna is pleased when we read his instructions, by living a sattvic life, by visiting the temple and these things. Yeah. And people, some are working, having families, so they engage the family to serve God, and they engage their wealth somehow in Krishna's. This is called sadhana bhakti. This is the bhakti at a level gradually one can do to awaken higher spiritual consciousness. So that is how to please God at this level now. Yes, following those instructions.
Okay, Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Like my question is that, like many we in our sampradaya we are accepting the Bhagavatam at the topmost
Yes.
planas. We are accepting the Bhagavatam, whatever instruction is given there.
Yeah.
But many others, like those who are following the Mayavad sampradaya or like that, they are claiming that this is the Smriti part. This is not comes under
It's
the
not Shruti, it's
Smriti.
Smriti.
So why? What's the difference between Shruti and Smriti, and why they are not accepting?
Okay, I hope some of you got that. It will be a little beyond other people. But anyway, I'll answer you. That Srimad Bhagavatam actually is in the Purana category. So when there's Shruti, Smriti, if there's a contradiction, you have to accept Shruti. Now Smriti, our Bhagavatam says so many great things about Krishna, and that God is a person, and he is in the Leela and like this. That is not in Shruti. So how to understand that? But the person who wrote it, Vyasadev, he wrote in the second shloka of Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam Mahamuni Krite Kim Vaparev, that if you read Srimad Bhagavatam, what is the use of any other Shastra? Himself, he said that. Also, other Puranas glorify Bhagavatam. It's glorified in Matsya Purana, Kurma Purana. There it says that the Srimad Bhagavatam Bhashyam Brahma Sutranam is the natural commentary on Vedanta Sutra. Vedanta Sutra is supposed to be the essence of Upanishads. In the four Vedas, Upanishads are the highest part. And the highest part of that is distilled in the Vedanta Sutra. So Bhagavatam is explained as the natural commentary on Vedanta. Therefore, it's accepted as Vedanta, the highest of the Vedas. There are many explanations. And one of our acharyas, Jiva Goswami, he wrote a book, Sat Sandarbha, explaining philosophically why it's the highest text. Yes.
What is the difference between Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita?
Okay, question. Difference between Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. Both of these books, they discuss what we call Bhagavad Dharma. Within the Vedas, a lot of people are following Vedas. Some will be following Karma Kand, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, too many things. Okay, or worshipping different personalities. But Bhagavad Dharma is supposed to be the highest part of the Veda, because by following Bhagavad Dharma, one becomes liberated from material world. And the introduction for that is given in Bhagavad Gita. And Bhagavad Gita has 18 chapters, 700 verses. That is a concise summary of the absolute truth. All acharyas, Shankara, Ramanuja, Madhvacharya, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they accepted that the Bhagavad Gita is essence of Vedic knowledge and summary of knowledge needed to become liberated. And now Srimad Bhagavatam has 18,000 shlokas in 12 cantos, but it is expansion of the Bhagavad Gita, that's all. It's the same Gita expanded in a bigger form. By reading, we'll get a deep understanding.
And who is the creator of this universe?
Creator, if you're going to follow Bhagavad Gita, there Krishna says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo. Everything emanates from me. Aham sarvasya prabhavo. Matta sarvam pravartate. I am the creator, everything is emanating from me. But now, personally, we understand Krishna personally doesn't do anything. He expands into different forms, and under him devatas, they are doing everything. For example, he empowered Brahma to create within the universe. Okay. Then it's explained in Brahma Samhita that the Vishnu form is simply for managing the material world. Krishna himself has nothing to do. Nattasya karyam karanam cha vidyate. God doesn't have a duty. What does God do? He is enjoying. He's just enjoying. The owner of a big company, he'll not be there breaking his head how to run it. He'll employ the people. He'll go and play golf or go to the beach. So, yeah, creator, you want to say simply, this is Krishna. In Srimad Bhagavatam, the first shloka, Janmadi asya yataha and vayad itaratartarteshu abhignya swarat, describing Krishna. Janmadi, Janma means the creation of the world, Adi, creation, maintenance, destruction. But of course, under him people are deputed to do it.
Who is superior between Lord Shiva and Lord Krishna?
Okay, that's if you again you want to follow Bhagavad Gita, so Krishna says that he is superior. And one book was written, it's called Who is Supreme? In detail they take out all the shlokas, because people think that in the Shastra it's whoever we want to serve, whatever we want to worship. But Rig Veda says Eko Brahma Dvityana Asti, Supreme is one. So who is he? Brahmo Devaki Putra, Rig Veda says that the Supreme is the son of Devaki, Brahmo Devaki Putra. So, Bhagavad Gita is our main text, Sanatana Dharma. So there Krishna says he is supreme. In different Puranas, you will get different things. It will say he is supreme, they are supreme. This is because there are three categories of Puranas. Sattvic, Rajasic and Tamasic. So out of these, the Tamasic Puranas, people who are so much addicted to things like say meat eating and intoxication, so that is promoted in those Puranas. The Rajasic Puranas are meant for people who want to enjoy this world. It tells them how to enjoy, what to get. Sattvic Puranas, they are 6 in number, they give liberation. So all the Sattvic Puranas, then there it says that Krishna is supreme, or Vishnu, Ram, Narasimha, avatars. So based on that, it's the nature of the person is different. So therefore the Puranas say, okay, he's supreme, they're supreme, follow them. And according to their nature, they will do that religious process and get elevated. But finally, it says in the Sattvic Puranas that Krishna is supreme, and actually Vishnu emanated from Krishna. But Vishnu form, Kshirodaksha Vishnu, is residing in our universe, and when Krishna takes avatar, all avatars, they come out of Vishnu. And so sometimes we say Krishna comes from Vishnu. That's also correct.
4 types of Vishnu.
Four types.
of Vishnu.
4 types.
Vishnu.
3 types of Vishnu are there. Garbhodaksha Vishnu, Mahavishnu, Kshirodaksha Vishnu, Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and Mahavishnu. Garbhodaksha Vishnu, Karonadaksha Vishnu, and Kshirodaksha Vishnu. 3 forms. Little advanced, we had different topic actually. So anyway, that was answer to your question.
Shiva is the topmost Krishna.
Yeah, that is mentioned in. That is there. Shlok is there that Devanam Achyuto Yatha Vaishnavam Anam Yatha Shambhu Purananam Idam Param. That the greatest devotee of Vishnu is Lord Shiva, and he is holding the beads and he is chanting names. Ram Nam. That's mentioned. Yeah.
But Babuji, I just knowledge of Veda and Upanishad, okay?
Yes.
There are 10 principal Upanishad there. But Babuji, when we read the Upanishad, Upanishad only talks about impersonal Brahman. Those who are like, those who are spreading infinite universe, each and every atom. This is called Brahman.
Yes.
Okay. This is called the Niyakar form of God.
Yeah, definitely.
Upanishad only talks about the Niyakar form of God.
Yes.
But Babuji, when we read the Puranas,
They speak personal form.
Yeah, the form of God.
Hmm.
So probably we know that the Supreme book, I think that the Upanishad come under Shruti, like what is given by directly by God.
Yeah.
But probably all Puranas, including Gita also, because Gita is also part of Mahabharata.
Yeah.
Okay. And Mahabharata also
Comes under
area of
Itihas.
Smriti.
Yes, Smriti.
So probably I think we should have to follow, like we have to follow Vishada or we have to follow Purana.
What to follow? Yeah, you see.
Because there will be contradiction between
Yeah. You see, there's a shloka in Mahabharata. Tarko Pratishtha, Shrutoyo Vibhina. The Shruti say different things, which one to accept. Actually, on our own, we cannot understand Veda. If we say, I'm going to understand Veda from Amazon, I load a Rig Veda like this and start reading, and there, we cannot understand. We are meant to understand Veda through an Acharya. Acharyas, they come according to the time, place, circumstance. They will come and give the knowledge to the people at that time and that place. But some knowledge is cannot be changed. Okay, so I'll answer your question. So the knowledge now, someone reading Purana says God has a form, he has Leela. And you read Upanishads, nothing about personal form. They talk about he has no, yeah, it will be impersonal form, not as a personal. Okay, how is that? Actually, most of the Vedas don't talk about the Supreme as personal. There's a reason for that. And now if you see in Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna and Arjun became bewildered, Krishna began to give Gyan to Arjun. And what did he tell him in the beginning? Traiguna Vishaya Veda, Nistraiguna Bhavarjuna. Most of the Vedas is based on how to enjoy in this world. So he told Arjun, now rise above this, come beyond. Because most of the Vedas are telling how to enjoy. So he's saying now you have to rise above and come to that platform of Vedic knowledge which tells us how to escape and come out. But why is it that the Vedas don't explain personal form of God? There's a reason for that. The reason is the Jiva, we left Vaikuntha because out of Irshya, envy, that God is enjoying, God is supreme. I want to be supreme, I'm also enjoyer. I have 5 senses, I want to enjoy my senses. So then Krishna is absent from material world. Okay, no God is here, you enjoy, become enjoyer, try to enjoy your senses. Therefore the Vedas don't explain the nature of God, very little. Because most people are envious of God, they not accept. God has no form, God has no, God is just a void, or there is no God. That's what they want to see. But the Veda purpose is, come to the Veda, it will teach you how to get your material desires fulfilled. Same time, elevate you spiritually till you get it moksha gradually. But if you say God is there, oh God, I don't want it. But if you say no, there's no God, no form, like that, okay. Because we want to be enjoyer. This is an unconscious feeling at the back of our mind, that I want to enjoy, not that I want to serve someone. People don't want to serve, they don't want to be servant. That's why Vedas mostly won't see that. But there are parts. It's a minority part. Because out of many people, Gita says, Manushanam sahasreshu kaschit yatiti siddhaye. Out of many men, only few will think, now I have to get perfection. Hardly. Dattatam apisidanam kaschan mam vedi tattvataha. Out of many who are getting perfection, hardly one will know me, Krishna says. So the answer to your question, which one to accept? That you have to take shelter of Acharya. Okay. So now example, we take shelter of Prabhupada. Prabhupada has explained the Veda, and there's and not only in our Sampradaya, it was not Prabhupada, it started with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he explained the Vedas. And so we are able, and we are giving that proper meaning. But summary is you now for us here in Kali Yuga, Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam is the essence for everyone. Because we cannot read Shruti, we cannot understand it, it's very deep. So essence of Vedic knowledge will come in Gita and Bhagavatam. Many people are just focusing on this, different sampradayas.
Even Prabhuji, in Gita also, Lord Krishna described various methods of yoga to know about the Supreme Absolute Truths.
Yeah.
Like Jnana Yoga, also Bhakti Yoga. So Prabhuji, if someone flowing like Jnana Yoga, if someone flowing with Bhakti Yoga, I think they both can reach to Absolute Truths.
But if you read Gita, chapter 1 to 6, they explain different yoga systems. Then at the end, Krishna says in the chapter 6, last verse, actually the highest yoga is bhakti. Then Acharyas explain us that these yoga systems, they are simply like a ladder. It's not that they're all going there, but they are different steps of realization. Karma yoga, then it's dhyan, gyan, then dhyana, then bhakti. It's that spiritually people are evolving higher, they take a higher form of bhakti. So then he explains that highest bhakti, highest yoga is bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga is, Krishna says, the highest, last shloka of chapter 6. So yeah, you want to say they all lead to the same, yes, but like karma yoga will lead to higher, but they all end up in bhakti. Yes. Okay, Hare Krishna, I'll stop here. Okay. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki Jai. Now, we are going to chant one round. We always do this. Some of you are new, but last week we didn't do. We are going to chant Hare Krishna on Japamala. I'll explain you that here we are giving this knowledge. At the same time, the Shastra explains that in Kali Yuga, the main system of self-realization is chanting name of Hari. Okay? For example, in one shlok it says that Kirtaya Dhyayata Vishnu Pretayam Yajatomake Dvapare Paricharyayam.